So, hello everyone, let's get started with the basics of Python. Since now we are going to start with this language, there are certain properties. First of all, let's see what is the history. It was developed by Guido van Rossum in February 1991. And as I told you in the programming languages also, it is a high level language, it is object oriented language, and it uses interpreter as a translator to convert its language to machine language. Plus, it is a portable language that we saw in our previous slides. But there are some drawbacks. Every programming language will be having some strengths and some weaknesses. One of the weaknesses, it is not the fastest language. It has less libraries as compared to other programming languages. It's not very strongly typed language. That means you cannot specify a specific data type. You can keep on changing the data types of a particular variable. And plus, this language cannot be converted into any other language. Why? We'll come to know later. Now, when you work on Python, there are two modes in which you can work. One is the interactive mode and the other is the script mode. In the script mode, we will be doing the programming, and in the interactive mode, we can give certain simple commands in order to see the outputs of them. Right? So now let's get started with the tokens in Python, which is a detailed study. If a question arises, what is a token? So we can say it is an individual unit of a program. And there are various tokens. What are tokens? Basically, you can compare it with your real life, in which if you have to construct a house, you have to buy certain materials to construct a house. Similarly, to make a program, we should be well acquainted with the tokens. So here there are 5 tokens: keywords, literals, identifiers, operators, and punctuators. Out of that, we have to see first of all keywords. These are the predefined words in Python which have a specific meaning for it, and they are also known as reserved words. Some examples are false, true, none, if, import, etc., and various others that we'll come to know in our programming. Next token that we are going to see is identifier. Your name identifies you. Similarly, identifier means the name that you give to any part of a Python program, whether it is a function, it is a variable, it is an array, anything. So there are certain rules in it. First is that the name that you give in an identifier should start with an alphabet or an underscore. It cannot start with a digit or a reserved word or a keyword, and no spaces are allowed in between. The examples I have given below. Then comes literals. Literals are the values that behave as fixed data items. So for example, if you write a is equal to 5, that 5 value is a literal. Literals are of various types as I have given here: string literal, numeric literal, Boolean literal, special literal, floating point literals, etc. So we are going to look into them one by one. The first literal that we are going to see is string literal. They are of two types: single line and multi-line. Single line means giving the value only in one line. For example, if you say a is equal to inverted commas may hello, so that is a single line literal. But if in multi-line, what happens if you write in various lines, then you have to put a backslash symbol to express the continuity, that yes, the second line that I am writing is a continuation of the first line. Then we have the next literals which come in the string literals only are escape sequences. So escape sequences, may we say these are non-graphic character constants that cannot be typed directly through the keyboard but are represented by a backslash symbol. Like for example, if you want to go to the next line, you will have to use backslash n, which represents a new line. If you want to give a tab or a space of 5 characters in between 2 letters, then you will have to press /t, and so on. Then we have got numeric literals, which are of various types. One is a decimal literal which starts from 1 to 9. Octal literals are represented with a 0 digit, and the numbering starts from 0 to 7. There are only 7 digits in it starting from 0. So total there are 8 digits in octal. Hexadecimal are represented by a symbol 0x, and the numbering starts from 0 to 9, and then we have got A to F to represent 10 to 15. So these are the numeric literals. Now let's move further to study the rest of the literals. Then we have got complex literals which are represented by the formula A plus Bj, where A is a numeric literal and B is an imaginary literal, and J is having a value of under root minus 1. So the total formula written is A plus Bj. That becomes a complex literal. Then we have got another set of literals. These are Boolean and special literals. Boolean literals are represented by only two values, true and false. Always take care that true ka T should be in capital and F of false should be in capital. Special literals are represented by a value none, because none means having no value. After the literals category, now we are moving towards another category of the tokens. The another category is operators. Now operators are the symbols that are used with operands. Operands may be A, B, C, whatever. So we have got arithmetic operators which are represented by multiply, plus, divide. There are two division symbols which you can see is one slash and a double slash. What is the meaning of these? We'll come to know later. Then we have got identity operators which is represented by is and not is. Then we have got bitwise operators which is represented by a simple and, simple pipe symbol and a caret sign. Shift operators with greater than, less than. Logical operators which are represented by and, or, and not. And relational operators or comparison operators by greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, not equal to, and so on. Membership operators are represented by in and not in. And now comes the last category of tokens, which is punctuators. Punctuators are any symbols that are used according to the syntax of the program, like circular brackets, square brackets, comma, semicolon. All such type of symbols are said to be punctuators, or in other words, sometimes people call them separators also. So here we have finished with the basics of Python, having tokens, etc.